Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, I'm still up as you can probably see. It's a little after 1:50. I'm up because basically the fact that I worked 6:30 to 11 tonight, and I rested most of the day, and I got to be back at work at 11:30 tomorrow. So, and I got to work to 8:30. So there's that. And the only benefit is I'll be able to come home for lunch. So. Anyway, I was gonna do this video before I left, but I never got the chance to do it. You know, I was thinking about, this whole situation with Seth Rollins and everything, and how everybody lately has been getting on the fact that he's not the kind of champion you want. He's boring, he's non-charismatic or non-charismatic, he doesn't have that it factor and all that. Why do they keep pushing him? When are they going to take the belt off him? Or when are they going to give him some kind of niche? And, because he's always getting out-promoted or out, he's getting outdone in the promos and the verbal altercations and all that. It's like, why do they keep pushing this guy? He always, most of his matches, either they've been for the championship or they haven't been, he's always found a way to win by shortcut, by having somebody else do his dirty work for him. So what's going on? What's it gonna, why do they keep pushing him? And that is the title of this video. Why does WWE keep pushing Seth Rollins as their champion? Here's why. You see, it harkens back to 2004 when JBL was the WWE Champion. Now, I know a lot of you might come out and defend and say his championship reign might have been better. Looking back on it now, you could say that. But back then, and the internet was just as strong as it is today. Well, maybe not as strong as it is today, but it was, out there to the point that you had various websites and news sources and stuff talking about basically the same thing, and you had fans communicating. True, you didn't have the luxury of YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter at the time. You didn't have social media as big as it is today. You didn't have that major exposure that social media has given you. So, with that said though, even with the message boards and the websites and all that, people still got the point across. And what the point was is that JBL was a boring champion. He was a chicken shit heel champion that was an embarrassment. Every time he would defend his title, it was always somebody's interfering, or he'd always find a way to get disqualified, always find a way to get counted out, or someone would come in behind the referee's back when the referee's knocked down and help him win. And it's like, well, what was the point of making him champion? It's even when he won the U.S. title from Chris Benoit, people felt the same way as well, because here we go again. When he became Intercontinental Champion, luckily that didn't last long. It was like, here we go again. It's basically any title reign he had, majority of the time he would end up retaining due to some shenanigans, due to some outside interference. And this is more so when he was the WWE Champion. And people got on his case about it. They got on the WWE's case. It was like, why do you keep pushing this guy as champion when he's not even a reliable champion? He's not even a viable champion. He's a joke. He's always relying on this and that. It's the same way people look at Seth Rollins today, which to me makes Seth Rollins the JBL of this generation, of this era. That's right. Why do you think about it this way? When JBL finally lost the championship, he lost it to an up-and-comer at the time in John Cena. Someone that probably no one ever thought would even be the face of the company that he is today. But he lost the belt after months and months and months of people saying, get this thing off him, get this thing off him, get it off him, get it off him. And they would put him in so many kinds of matches, fatal four-ways, triple threats, six-pack challenges, you name it. He'd always find a way to retain due to some shortcuts or some shenanigans, some shady involvement, which made people piss all over his title reign and consider it one of the worst and most boring and pathetic title reigns they've ever seen. And that's how they feel about Seth Rollins. Basically because it's the same thing, which is why I believe Seth Rollins is being built up this way. Which is why WWE keeps the belt on him, because they're building him up to the point that even if you don't like someone like, let's say, a Roman Reigns, let's say Roman finally gets that one-on-one match, you'll be happy that he gets to face Seth Rollins by himself, no shenanigans or anything like that, and win the title. That's this whole plan. That's the whole plan. Same with Cesaro. Same with Kevin Owens. If they want to go face with it, turn him face down the line or whatever. The thing is, they are building Seth Rollins up so that whoever finally knocks him down, whether you like them or not, you will actually cheer that guy over Seth Rollins because you'll be like, thank you, somebody's finally here to shut this guy up and take this belt off him. That's what they're doing. And if that guy is indeed Sting, after what we saw tonight, or for me, saw through highlights and everything, because I was working, if that guy is indeed Sting, then that's great. They could have a reason for that. You know, a lot of people are saying Seth Rollins is going to be turning, he's going to be turning face down the line. What better way to really start that progress to him turning face than to have Sting be the one that dethrones him? Now you might say, oh, what are they going to do with Sting as champion? Make him like The Rock? Make him like Brock Lesnar, just appear when he has to? This is what I think is going to happen, my opinion. If they put the belt on Sting, which we're not too sure of, then Sting would be the kind in story to say, yes, I won the belt, but now I'm going to vacate it, and we're going to put it up for grabs maybe in a battle royal, maybe in a tournament that ends the Survivor Series, what have you, and let those who have been champions and who have not had the opportunity to be champion compete. Now, from a storyline perspective, that might sound great because then you can give everybody an opportunity. That could be something that, you know, could really be good. Because then, in a sense, you'd be sticking it to the authority, because by stipulation, not only would Sting be champion, but Sting can also decide how the title is decided. He can actually decide the kind of way the now vacant championship, which I got a feeling could happen, is decided. And from a storyline perspective for Seth Rollins, it could be he's on the outside now looking in, and all he has is the U.S. belt. But he wants the WWE belt back. So what do you do? What do you do? So what do you do? Well, that's when you start turning him face. You have Sting say, no, I'm not going to add you into the tournament because you can't do anything on your own. But then you have Sting kind of, you know, be the mastermind and all that he is, say, but you know what? I'm willing to kind of have a change of heart. I'm willing to change my mind. If you come out and defend this U.S. Championship, even in defeat, against the guy that used to have it, John Cena, maybe, if they want to go that route. On your own, no shenanigans, no interference, no running away or anything, and even in defeat, maybe I'll consider putting you in. But then you can also have, you know, Sting milk it as well and say, hey, I'm willing to do that, but I'm also willing to do it as well, that not only in defeat, well, you can have Sting milk it in a sense like, yeah, I could do that too. Yeah, you know, you could have Seth Rollins agree to that, but then you can have Sting milk it and say, okay, I'm glad you agree, but I'm also not sure if I should put you in even if you do lose. And you could have Seth go like, well, what do you want me to do? What do you want? And you can have Sting finally be, like I say, be the mastermind, be the icon that he is, say, I want you to admit that on your own, you couldn't get it done. I want you to admit that you always had to rely on the authority. I want you to admit that in reality you are a pawn in this game. And finally, in a sense that I think could turn him face, have Seth Rollins, even in defeat, even if he defends the belt, maybe loses it to Cena or whoever, and then finally wanting to get back in that title picture, wanting to be the WWE Champion again, have him finally, from my perspective, from a storyline perspective, admit, okay, fine, look, I could never really get it done on my own. I never had that much pressure on me to lead a company like this. I didn't think they were going to want me to do that. Well, I did, but I didn't think, it was going to be like this. They promised it would be easy, and it wasn't, You can finally just basically have him admit that, yes, he couldn't do it on his own because deep down he was nervous. Maybe he was nervous as champion, and he wasn't sure if he could really, handle the pressure. In a sense, that could be like the first stepping stone to turning him face. But until we get to that point, though, whenever we get to that point, the question on many fans' mind is, how long are they going to keep him as the champion? And again, I think, in a sense, it follows that same scenario that JBL did. It's that scenario of, here's a champion that does all these underhanded things, all these shenanigans, all this kind of crap to win or walk away with his title. And people are getting sick of it. They want this to stop. They want the BS to stop. They want the belt off the guy and on somebody else. And that's all true. That was the same way with JBL. Now some might point out, well, what about Edge? Edge was the same way. Yes, but Edge was entertaining. True, there was some detractors. Some felt the same way they did about JBL, like, oh my gosh, how many times is he going to, win the belt, and how long is he going to keep it, and when is he going to get it off him? True, there was some detractors, but here was the difference. Edge's character was the ultimate opportunist. And the truth is, he never really held the belt as long as JBL did. When he'd have to give it up, he gave it up. And the only time he'd ever get it back is when he would use his moniker as the ultimate opportunist, take advantage of a situation and go from there. Which is why, in just a short time that he held the belt for 4 years, from when he first won it, what was it, 2006, to all the way till he to the last day he was champion, when he had to vacate the title because he was forced into retirement. He was forced into retirement because of his neck injury, or because of the multiple injuries to his neck. He became a 10-time, 11-time champion, all under the Ultimate Opportunist moniker, which in a sense some might say is almost similar to JBL, but it's not, because it was different and it was entertaining. Again, true, there were detractors that, despite some of his title reigns running a little long, would say, get this belt off him, he's becoming boring, he's relying too much on too many people, on his La Familia and all that. There were many more that found it entertaining and got a kick out of it. Because they never knew when he was going to strike. They never knew when he was going to take that ultimate opportunity and run with it. That was the difference between Edge and JBL. That is the difference between Edge and Seth Rollins. And that is why a lot of people, even myself, will compare and agree that Seth Rollins' title reign right now is very similar to JBL's. It's like it's running too long. It's consisted, most of his title defenses and non-title matches have consisted of interference and shenanigans, basically showing that he can't get it done on his own. Enough's enough. But again, it goes back to what I was saying. The reason this is happening is they're building Seth Rollins up, just like they did JBL as champion, to the point that you're going to despise him so much for all the shenanigans, all the BS that he's been doing, that the day somebody, whether it's Sting at Night of Champions or somebody down the line, whether it's Cesaro, Kevin Owens, hell, even Finn Balor, if they want to go that far, that when the day comes to get that belt off him, people will get behind whoever is the one that's chosen to do it. Whoever is the one chosen to do it. Heck, you know what's going to be crazy? Is they'll even cheer Sheamus when Sheamus cashes in properly and gets the belt away from him. Which is also another scenario that could lead to a Rollins face turn. That's the point I'm trying to get across. That even for a brief moment, they'll cheer freaking Sheamus because even though they're not going to like him as champion, they're going to hate that even more. At least he got the belt off Rollins. And that is why Seth Rollins is being pushed the way he is as champion. They're building him up to the point that whether it's a Sheamus cash-in, a Sting victory, or someone like a Reigns, a Cena maybe, an Orton, an Owens, a Cesaro, a Ryback maybe, a Ziggler, who knows? Whoever down the line, maybe even a Big Show, whether people like that or not, right? Or even a Rusev or whoever down the line gets chosen and appointed as the one to take the belt away from him. So that when that happens, whether you like that person or you don't, you'll get behind them during the build up to that match, knowing that that's going to be the match the belt comes off Seth Rollins. Heck, they can even go with Ambrose. People will definitely get behind that. They can go with the new rebooted, reformatted Wyatt family. Whether it's Bray, heck, Bray's already got a fan base with his followers. Luke Harper, same thing. And now there's the big man that they got. You could choose any of them and fans will get behind them just to get that belt off Seth. It's the same way they got behind John Cena. Yeah, they were getting behind him at the end of 2003 and throughout 2004. That fan base was growing and growing and growing and getting behind him and getting behind him and getting behind him. And when we got to 2005, it got so big that WWE knew they had a monster on their hands. They knew this was a guy that could be the face of the company, could be the future, and they ran with it. And at that time, they ran with it. They said, this is going to be the guy that takes the belt off him. Fans knew it. The moment he turned face, the moment he defeated Big Show at WrestleMania 20, fans knew this was going to be the guy. Obviously, the WWE officials at that time, and boy, what a difference 11 years makes. 11 years to a decade makes. They knew it at the time. So basically, that's obviously, hopefully, how things are being done right now. It's like they're building something, they got something in mind. Whether it is Sting, whether it's a Sheamus cash-in, maybe even Cena tying the record, who knows? Whether it's Orton because of his history, Reigns or Ambrose because of their history in the Shield with Rollins, Cesaro, Owens, who knows? The fact is that no matter how you look at it or how you feel about it, that's why Seth Rollins is still champion. Is being pushed as the champion right now because his championship reign, is compared. The comparisons are so identical that it's basically very similar to JBLs, and that's why he's being pushed. Just like JBL was pushed as champion then, and people wanted him and people had been wanting from basically the first time he won that belt, and the first time he defended it, all the way to WrestleMania 21. People wanted that championship off him, and it didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter if it was Booker T. Didn't matter if it was the Big Show. Didn't matter if it was Kurt Angle. They wanted the belt off him, but no matter what happened, he always found a way to slither away with it or escape with it. Even the Undertaker, the freaking Undertaker, you think they would give it to, they didn't. Why? Because they were building him up as champion so that he could drop it to, at the time, the up-and-comer, the future face of the company in John Cena. It's the same way they're doing it with Seth Rollins. Yeah, Seth Rollins is younger. Yeah, he is the future, there's no doubt about it. But they're building his character up as champion to the